Table topics. Our table topic master is going to introduce you all to the 4 new topics, and everyone, like whoever she is going to pick on, that person has to speak for 1 minute on that topic. So may I please invite Sarah Cox, who is the table topic master for this meeting. Sarah Cox?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Toastmasters and distinguished guests. It's my pleasure to evaluate the even-numbered tabletop speakers. 2 people. Firstly, I have the pleasure of evaluating Peter Nolan's speech as a tabletop speech. Later on, when I do the general evaluation, I'll be evaluating as an evaluator. That's a great honor I've been bestowed upon today. Thank you very much, Peter. Peter was given the question, which city he would like to choose for traveling by air balloon, hot air balloon. He was not able to listen to the question, so he asked the table topics master to repeat the question, and he repeated the question. That gave him the time to think about, and then he came out with the points. He was able to speak a few words, which was great. In table topics segment, it needs experience for the people to speak more. So in that respect, Peter Nolan has put his first step, which is great. With more opportunities, he'll be able to speak more. But within this short segment, as a first-time speaker in table topics, he was able to say a few words. Even though he mixed up with Eiffel Tower and living on a Pisa, it just gave some entertainment. It doesn't have to be accurate. And we don't have to feel guilty about it when we give sometimes information that only becomes a sort of a humorous aspect for the club. This is the safest club for us, so we can try any of our means, whatever style we have, and however unprepared we are, it doesn't matter at all. It's only the opportunity that we have to grab, choose, and then improve upon ourselves. So it's a great job by Peter Nolan as a first-time speaker. It's great. The second speaker was Premnath. He was given the question whether he would... Sean Premnath. Have you been here? It's S. Premnath, so it's already... And Sean has already become a very seasoned speaker. His confidence in speaking is just shining. With the smiles, with the forcefulness with which he is able to give the points, and his attentiveness. He was very, very attentive. He was able to immediately speak. In fact, he even repeated the question to acknowledge that he has heard it correctly, which was a good strategy. And he was able to give the reasons, have a lot of gestures, confidence, and it came out very well. Only one minor point for improvement for Sean would be, in the final statement, he said, thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master. So, as speakers, we can always take the stage, complete our sentence, thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master, and then sit down. That just gives more professionalism to the speakers. That's my pleasure, Madam. Thank you, Madam Chairman, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. It's my pleasure to do the general evaluation, that is, evaluation of those items that have not been evaluated. Firstly, with the Sergeant at Arms, Michael Countery has done an excellent job in setting up the room, and somebody had put the poster in level 4 to redirect people to coming to this room. That was great. Because a room that has been set up with all the basic amenities makes it interesting and gives a good start for the meeting, such as the computer has been already logged on. As the chairman, Shubhangi has done an excellent job. I could see that she has put in a lot of preparation. She came well prepared for every item that she was introducing. She had the background information up front and she was able to read them out. That shows very good preparation and the level of commitment and dedication given to the role. She was also able to give some personal reflections at the end of each item, which makes that role really more appealing to the audience. Sometimes the roles are taken away by other people. For example, the round robin. When the word power is introduced by the word power master, the round robin has to be initiated by the chairperson and not by the table topics, not by the word power master. That is one point for the chairman to note. In the word power segment, Angela has done again a lot of preparation. She came out with a very thought-provoking word that really made everybody to think on their feet and say something meaningful. Though this word were used out of context also, not to the true meaning, but generally everybody were able to speak and use that word in its proper, conveying its proper meaning, using its proper meaning. That was great. And she was also, I was expecting a feedback from her at the end of the meeting, whether how many people have used, but she was very, very honest. And I like honest. She was able to make the confession that she was not able to record, but she had recorded already in the round robin how people have used. That shows how much she was absorbed in the speeches and the quality of the speeches that people have been giving. That's a great one. But Angela comes with always with a lot of clarity in her voice, and she takes command of the stage. That's excellent. She has got those great qualities that makes her really a good speaker. After the word power round robin, and then the Toastmaster role was again done by the chairperson herself, and she was again prepared. She had all the background information. She was able to introduce the items, introduce the speakers, introduce the evaluators, set out the time limits, which sometimes people forget. All the procedures she was able to follow, and she was able to lead the claps for at the end of each item. One point that I am noticing in the club proceedings is that the Toastmaster is tending to ask the speech evaluators to read out the objectives. I don't know how this practice has crept in. It is the job of the Toastmaster to read out the objectives of the speech. The Toastmaster should prepare everything and convey it. Sometimes when they don't have time, they pass on the role to the evaluator to read out. By including the objectives in their own speeches, some amount of transition time can be saved, asking the other person to convey what the objectives are. But the evaluator is always free to read out the objectives in their evaluation speech and then say how it was addressed by the speaker. But otherwise, it is the role of the Toastmaster to convey the objectives of the speech when they introduce the speech, because it's part of the introduction of the speech and the speaker. Evaluator 1, Sean Premnath. Sean was excellent in his evaluation speech. He was very confident. He was able to look around, very good gestures, very confident. Sometimes he has a tendency to go very fast in his delivery, but again, he has acknowledged that practice. Now he has now slowed down in his delivery. Very clear voice. But these are all good opportunities for Sean to take part in evaluation speech contests. So towards that, he can now gear himself. So for that, a little bit of techniques he has to follow. For example, when he comes here and starts the speech, he must give an introduction. Any speech is like a normal speech with introduction, body, and conclusion. So the introduction can be, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to evaluate the speech given by such and such within 3 minutes, and I'll try to give some points for improvement. 1 point, that's the introduction. And then he can start with the introduction. But he was very good in giving a summarization at the end also. He summarized what are the good points and what are the suggestions that could be adopted for the speeches. That was great. Evaluated 2, Mila Gregorio. Mila is very experienced. She was able to give all the points. Very clear, very smiley. That shows the confidence. Very good gestures. She was able to analyze the speech very well. Just a few points for Mila. At the beginning, there were some unnecessary movements were there. It projects better for the speaker if they can just stand still. Look at the audience, even for a fraction of a second. And that just focuses all their attention on the speaker. And then start your bombshell. That just makes a good impact on the speaker. And it also increases the profile of the speaker. The other point is, sometimes she was looking down, and I would like to see Mila look up all the time and then speak. She normally summarizes, but on this instance, I think she didn't summarize, but I know Mila knows this because she has been a judge in competition. She knows about it very well. The next person is the table topics master, Sarah Cox. And Sarah Cox is the person who has given an opportunity for me to use the word obnubilate. Because the obnubilation that I had in my mind at the start of her role has totally changed by the time she completed her role. She projected herself, no, I'm not confident, I can't do this. But the amount of preparation she has done, that was great. She was well prepared. She has researched. And she has even thought about who she should be selecting. Great preparation. And she came with a theme. These are amazing aspects of a table topics master that a first timer like Alison has, sorry, Sarah has done. That was great. So, my suggestion to Sarah would be not to apologize. However unprepared we are, that call can be covered up by just standing yourself here and then just start with your delivery. There is no need for apology because it's not going to change anything. It's only just going to reduce the perception of the audience about the speaker. Evaluator, odd speakers, evaluator. That was Peter Nolan. My pleasure to evaluate Peter again. First time again for Peter to do the speech evaluation. That was great. He comes with a very pleasant style. He has got all those good aspects which he can harness in his future speeches. And he was very attentive. That's what is required for the evaluators. He has taken plenty of notes. That was great. And he gave lots of suggestions. That shows how he was able to process the information then and there and come out with the suggestions. Sometimes he was sounding a bit judgmental, like your conclusion was not, something I have written here, the conclusion was not up to the mark, something like that. They're all judgmental words. In evaluation, we don't use judgmental words. We are only giving impressions, how we felt about the speech. And that's an important element of speech evaluation, because in speech evaluation, in Toastmasters, the evaluator is not an expert. The evaluator is not an expert at all. They are only giving the impression how they felt when the speaker delivered the speech, and they can give some suggestions that will make it more interesting for the audience to improve their attentiveness of listening to the speech. Timer's report, Jeff Crook. He has got a beautiful voice, very clear voice. He can harness it. And in Toastmasters, I would encourage people like Jeff Crook to come to the stage and then give the report, because that will enhance their experiences. But it was great. He gave a very good analysis and he had noted down very well. Again, no need for apologies at the beginning. Oh, that concludes my segment.